Hello YouTube, this is one of the tracks that I've just been working on, and today I'm going to show you a quick way that you can master a track without destroying the mix, or at least I think it works quite well anyway. So I have this track here, and there's quite a high dynamic range, quite a lot of transients, which is a problem because it means I can't push the level very high. Now what I've done on the master track here, I've added an EQ8, and all this is doing is boosting certain frequencies that I think add some more character to the song. I mean, in mixdown stage I could have added these, but to apply it to the things I wanted to, it's easy to add it to at the mastering stage, so that adds quite a lot to the song. I mean, you can probably barely hear a difference, but if I play, I don't know, say this bit, I guess. And then if I disable this. It's barely noticeable, but it just makes it sound a bit fuller. And then I have this limiter here. And this is what's doing most of the work. Now, limiters can be overused really easily. So what you want to do, you just want to take a limiter, make the look head as small as it possibly can be, so 1.5 milliseconds, and then make the release automatic. And all you want to do, if I drag out another limiter here and start again, is you want to listen to your song, and while it's playing, all you want to do is turn the ceiling level down until you can see it pulling down the occasional peak, but only just. So you'll kind of get an idea of what I'm doing if I play this part of the drop here. So I initially set it to -5 because that is roughly where the level of this audio comes up to. Just it's a bit lower than that, but it's a good place to start. And as you can see, when I'm playing this, quite a lot of stuff is being pushed down. Now we don't want that, because if that's happening, it means that our mix is getting quite heavily affected. So if we turn this down to -4.5, then let's have a look now. The occasional peak is being pushed down, but it's still just too much really, and it's getting pushed down slightly too far. So if we change this to say -4.2, like I have over here, you should be able to see a lot less limiting happening. Now, because this isn't pushing it down nearly as far as it was before, it means that it's not affecting the music as much. But let me show you the difference between this with a limiter and this without a limiter. So first I'm going to export this without a limiter. Okay, now it's exported, I'm opening it up in Audacity, and we can see this waveform here. Now I told Ableton to normalize the audio waveform, so why is it that you can clearly see most of this is way below 0 dB, and if we play it on the level meter, most of it's only coming down to -3, which isn't what we want. Now the reason is, you can see this sort of peak here. See, that peaked at 0. Okay, why is that? Well, normalizing basically increases the volume until one of the peaks, or the highest point in the audio spectrum, reaches the 0 decibel mark, which is good if it's mastered properly. If not, what will happen is you just get loads of erratic you basically just get loads of overhead, which you maybe don't want if you're trying to make it loud. So now if I export this with the limiter on it, you'll see that these peaks have been squashed down a bit, and some of these will have been too. Now these peaks here, these are called transients. They're things that your ears barely register, but need to be sort of squashed down to make sure the main body of the mix can be increased in volume. But what you don't want to do is squash them down too far, because if you ruin the dynamic range of the mix, it can sound like it can sound bad. It can sound like you've way over limited it, and that isn't good. But I'm just going to go and export the mastered version of this now, and you will see what happens. I've exported it, and I've imported it into Audacity. Also, when you're exporting it, make sure that you check the option that says normalize, make sure it's set on, otherwise it won't boost it. Now if we look here, we can see that this audio spectrum is much louder, much fuller than this one here, and you can see that most of the peaks have been squashed down, so you can see that a lot of them are matching up to the 0 decibel mark because they've all been pushed to the same level, which means that the overall volume of the mix has changed from -3 to, well, I'd say about -1 possibly, and a lot of these transients here are up at 0, which is good. It will sound loud. You do not need the entire mix to be pushed up to 0. It will ruin the mix. But let me just show you the difference in sound between these two. So let me play this a sec. So that sounds like the track when it was first created. It just a bit louder, because all that's been done here is a normalization, which is really simple. It doesn't do much. But let me just solo this, and you should be able to hear, I mean, roughly what's going on. You should be able to hear that it's a little bit louder, a little bit fuller, and there shouldn't be too much distortion since the limiter hasn't been doing too much. It's only been affecting these transients up here, none of the main body of the sound, which is what we want because it doesn't really affect the mix. So you can see how the limiting has allowed us to normalize it to a much higher level. This is a really simple way of quickly mastering your tracks. I wouldn't recommend you try and make your tracks as loud as possible. It's really not necessary. Something like this loud, this is more than enough. This is loud enough to play, well, anywhere on any speakers. If you're creating a club track, this is certainly loud enough to play in the club. And if you do over limit your audio, it will just sound flat and awful. You'll get a lot of distortion on it, and none of that is what you want. You want your mix to sound loud and full. Another thing you can see here, it's slightly changed the way the way the audio curves, very, very slightly. It basically means that the parts that wouldn't have been amplified before so much have been amplified quite a bit, which is good because it allows our mix to sound louder. So that's a really quick way of how to master your tracks in Ableton. I hope you enjoyed this video, and goodbye.